Ms. Dorian was very kind enough to invite me in, so I have the opportunity to speak to you about asthma. Asthma is something that's very, very important to me. I've been a respiratory therapist for about 15 years. I teach at a Delta College in the Health and Wellness Division, and I also work for a company called GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals, where for them I'm a chronic disease educator. So what I do is I travel the state and the country, and I work with health systems, and I help the health system learn ways to better teach their patients on how to manage chronic diseases. So we think about that. If we have a disease, if we have asthma or COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or diabetes, or high blood pressure, the more we understand this disease, the better we will be at managing and doing the things that we want to do. Because that's really what it boils down to. What do we want to do? It's our quality of life, and that's so, so important. So we'll take a little bit to talk about what asthma is, and kind of talk about some of the fundamentals about helping us make the right choices if we have asthma, things to avoid, things we may not even think about. So, what is asthma? Anyone have asthma?
Oh, no.
Well, raise it up. If this 1 in 12 people have asthma, who knows someone who has asthma? They're all around us. So it's a very common thing. So, what would you describe asthma as? What happens? In your words. What's happening? Hard for them to breathe. And what would that be like? It's hard to breathe. It's kind of a silly question to ask, but pretty scary. I worked in ER for a long time, and I saw patients' eyes. I see the pain. That was very scary, because if you don't have asthma, you don't know what it's like. So, this is another thing that happens every day. Every day. 44,000 people have an asthma attack, 36,000 kids miss school, 27,000 adults miss work, 4,700 people are going to the ER. If you're missing school, you're missing work. That's it's a big issue. It's a loss of an opportunity. Actually have 4,700 people visit the emergency room every day. And 1,200 people admitted to the hospital. If you're admitted to the hospital, on average, that's about 3.6 days in the hospital. Not a fun place to be. And the last number, 9 people die every day from asthma. That works out to about 3,285 people per year. That's a lot of people. Asthma is a very controllable, treatable disease. We just have to know what to do. So, a little background on who affects asthma, on what asthma age, 8% of adults, 9.3% of children. Females, 9%, 7% for males. So female adults have a higher prevalence of asthma than kids. In the kid population, it's going to be more boys have asthma. In race and ethnicity, doesn't really matter. It's a little bit higher in the African American than it is the black and then the white and Hispanic. So asthma doesn't care who you are, if you're a boy or a girl, where you come from in the world. It still will take your breath away. It still makes it hard for you to breathe. So one area we can make a big impact with asthma is the triggers. And I talked about that briefly, but we'll get into it a little bit more. And I got some really cool pictures that show some of the bugs that can affect our asthma. But asthma itself, the definition is a big definition. Chronic inflammatory disorder of the airways associated with airflow obstruction and hyperresponsiveness. What? Well, thanks, but I have asthma. I don't have that. I don't know what that is. But when we teach things to patients, we want to better understand something. We have to turn it around and make sense of it. We all learn differently. Who likes to, you all take notes in every class. Who likes to color coordinate things with highlighters? That was me. A certain color meant higher importance on my nose. Who likes to have a TV or music or anything in the background? If you do something when you read or do homework. Background noise. These are ways that we all learn that help us better remember things, better adjust things. Me, I'm a movement person. I like to move when I do things. You'll see that I'll walk around a lot. historian can contest in my classroom. So I'm standing on a table or walking around. That's how I learned. It took me a long time to understand that. But the sooner you can experiment, how you learn faster. The better you'll be able to retain information. So back to this. We don't have a window in our chest where we can peek in and see what our lungs look like. But imagine a tree, and this is another way to help people understand things. Imagine a tree hanging from the ceiling upside down. The trunk comes down, and the branches work towards the floor. Instead of having leaves at the end of those branches, we have what look like clusters of grapes, like you'd see in the grocery store, but very, very, very small. That's where oxygenation happens. That's where we breathe. But in the branches of the tree, that's where asthma happens. The branches are hollow. That inflammation happens inside those branches. Imagine a rash on your arm with poison ivy. The skin's raised up, it's irritated, it's not big. That's the inflammation, the swelling that's taking place inside those branches, making that opening smaller, harder to get air in and out. And then we have muscles that wrap around those trees. Kind of like the stripes on a candy cane. Those muscles tighten and pinch that airway, making it more difficult to breathe. So together, that swelling from within inside those airways, that tightening of muscles around the branches, that's our asthma. That's what makes airflow obstruction. All that means is it's hard to get air out of your lungs. And the hyper-responsiveness, that's where we as people who have asthma can't go around cats, have a hard time getting around someone who smokes, or pollen, or dust. Our lungs are extra sensitive. That means hyper-responsiveness. It boils down to this. That inflammation, the disease of asthma, causes that responsiveness of our airways. It's hard to get air in and out. The chronic symptoms that we suffer from, wheeze, shortness of breath, chest tightness, recurrent cough. This is what's important to us. Remember a little while ago I talked about our quality of life, things we want to do. If I have a track meet and I got to go up and run, or I have a soccer game to play, but I'm wheezing, I'm coughing, am I going to be as effective as I would like to be? Not at all. That's my quality of life. So this big definition of asthma, that's background information. It can help us see the bigger picture, but what it really boils down to is, how am I going to enjoy my quality of life better? How can I control my asthma? Which leads to my shortness of breath, my wheeze, my cough, my waking up at night, using my rescue inhaler a lot. Limiting the things I want to do. Because we don't think about this. Your parents might, when you were really little and you had asthma, they might say, gosh, I don't know if I want to go on vacation because I don't know where the nearest hospital is or the urgent care. These are things that I have a friend that they think about. Well, if we're going to go backpacking, Todd, we can, because that's one thing I'd like to do. Like, what if I need to get an inhaler? How am I going to get that? Movie Canada. Things that they have to think about that affects their quality of life. But the more we know about it, the more we can prepare and take steps to make things better. You always have asthma. It's a chronic disease. You don't outgrow it. Situations change. We get bigger. Our airways get larger. When we're a little kid, our airways might be like a coffee straw. But as we get bigger, they might be like one of the McDonald's straws or even larger. But our life changes. Our environment changes. We don't work in the same place. We don't live in the same house. We're not exposed to the same triggers that affect our asthma. We'll always have it. We may not have all the symptoms. We may be better at managing our asthma. So let's take a look at the triggers. This is what causes asthma to flare up or have an exacerbation. The terms we use when your asthma gets out of control. Viral infections, allergens. We'll look at dust mites, pollen, mold, dander a little bit. These are big things. How do you avoid that? How do you avoid this stuff? We have to live every day. When you lay your head down, do you ever go to grandma's house or someone's house and you pick up a pillow and the pillow weighs like 10 pounds? Man, this is a heavy pillow. It must be a good pillow. No, it's a pillow that's full of dust mites and dead skin cells. So it's probably about 30 years old. You don't want to put your head on it. Dust mites are microscopic. They're in everything. Airway irritants, tobacco smoke, wood smoke, airborne chemicals, dust. These are things that someone like Caitlin might be affected by because she has asthma. She might have to avoid that if she knows that that's a sensitive trigger for her asthma. She might have to avoid, hanging around a campfire maybe. Who knows? But until she knows that, she can't take the necessary steps to prevent it. Exercise, this is where exercise-induced asthma happens. Change in the weather, strong emotion, laughing or crying. Who would have thought that contributed to asthma? And even menstrual cycles, a hormonal change, that can bring out an asthma attack. And this is just a few of them. So, going back